What's up, YouTubers? It's me, Jaguar Productions, doing you a TV show review on Stranger Things Season 5. All parts, including Volume 1, Volume 2, and then the finale. Now, before we start, I want to wish all to my YouTubers a Happy New Year to 2026. And I know it's been a while since my last video. Well, as you know, I've been kind of busy with like college, marching band, work, Christmas break. You all know the gist, so I'm sure you all understand. And now, to start off, I just want to say I thought Season 5 of Stranger Things was pretty good. Like, I'm not sure if it really tops the quality moments of Season 4 or even Season 1, but I still thought it was enjoyable. Like, really about how it starts off like about like a year and a half after the events of Season 4, where you get like all the characters in high school. You got a military quarantine zone. You got Robin giving her announcement about everything that's been going on for a while. Then later on, you get to see some moments with Dustin, how he's kind of grieving over Eddie's death, how he's been picked on by the bullies because people called him a monster. Later on, you get the whole group setting up for a crawl into the Upside Down, where eventually gets introduced to new characters like Mike's sister Holly, who's a little older now than she was in Season 4. And apparently she's been talking to some imaginary person, Mr. What's-It, which obviously was later revealed to be Henry. Then later on, you get to learn how Henry was kind of taking kids into his other world, using them as vessels. And of course, later on in the show, 11 gets introduced to number 8, aka Kali. It was nice to see her again. I was expecting they would bring her back at the show at some point. Then, of course, not to mention, one of the coolest scenes I liked was how Will was able to use Vecna's powers against the Demogorgons as the Demogorgons attacked the military. Like, that was a very cool scene right there in episode 4. Like, I really thought it was very awesome. Like, very badass in my opinion. Like, really, that right there, I think that's why I kind of find Will to be one of my favorite characters of the show. Like, that was very cool right there. Not to mention, later on, you get to learn that Max was alive in the other dimension, and she was like traveling around the area, and she ran into Holly. And of course, you get to see. And of course, later you get to see about how you're able to see how Will was able to kind of like have his telepathic connection with Vecna. Like, he's able to talk through his mind to Max. Like, that was a pretty interesting moment right there. Like, you kind of have Will pulling a Professor X thing, or whatever it is. And of course, later you get to see some nice moments between Will and Robin about how it's always best to be honest about your true feelings for someone. Like, that was a cool moment between those two. Not to mention, you get to see some interesting moments with like Jonathan and Nancy and Steve. Like, with Jonathan and Steve, how they're always kind of going over those usual rivalry with Nancy, and then you get to see Nancy and Jonathan having their usual awkward moments regarding their relationship. Not to mention the show, like with Dustin and Steve, how they were kind of arguing about Eddie and stuff. And later on, Dustin learns about the exotic matter, and like how the Upside Down wasn't an alternate dimension, parallel dimension to Hawkins, but really it was just a bridge between Hawkins and another dimension. Like, that was an interesting twist right there. Like, cause I kind of remember back in Season 4 when Vecna was banished to another dimension, it didn't look nothing like the Upside Down, so it makes sense. Then later on, you get a pretty cool moment with Steve, like how he kind of explains the idea of getting to the other dimension by waiting for the two worlds to get close together, kind of like a magic beanstalk thing. Like, that was a very cool scene with him in there. And later on in the show, you get to see Will finally opening up to his friends and family about how he's not attracted to girls. Like, I thought that was like a real nice mature moment right there. Like, that was very cool of him. Like, it just goes to show you just how much each of the characters has grown in the series, which is common for a lot of shows, which I think is a nice concept. Then later in the show, you get to see all the characters going up into the alternate dimension, getting ready to face Vecna, and they come across this giant monster, which I thought it was actually the Mind Flayer, like in its final form. And like it was a really cool, awesome fight scene with like Nancy being the bait. You got you got all the characters attacking it by sides. Dustin and Steven saying, "This is for Eddie, you son of a." And, like that was a cool moment there. And even of course later on, oh, and I forgot to mention later on, you get to learn more about Vecna, like how when he was a kid, he came across a scientist with a suitcase, and he ended up killing him because the scientist shot at him. And when he opened the case, there was like that exotic matter that gave him the Mind Flayer's powers, like. And for a moment, the Will sort of connected with him, like how he said Vecna was just a vessel, like he was to him. Like I guess you could say that was a nice moment there between those two. Like you could tell they obviously shared a connection, and not just telepathically. But unlike Will, Vecna kind of accepted the Mind Flayer's powers. And later on in the show, as Eleven and Mike were fighting him off, and he was almost dead, Joyce gives the final blow to him by chopping his head off with the axe. Like that was a cool. I guess it was kind of satisfying to see Joyce do that, considering that he took Will's mom is that Joyce is Will's mother. So it's kind of like you mess with a mother's boy, you mess with the mother. Now that was a very cool moment right there. And like later on, like all the characters get back to the other world. They're captured by the military, which is to be expected because the military is usually militaries after L11. And you get to learn about how when Kali died, there was more to what she said, like how L's story didn't have to end there. So everyone thought that Elle was dead, but obviously it turned out she actually was. Kali just made it look like she died just to protect Elle's family and friends. Like that was a kind of a cliche moment, but I still think it was kind of clever writing to the Duffer Brothers part. And not to mention, after that you get another 18 months time skip to where it was graduation day for the characters. You get some nice moments with them, with Robin giving a speech referencing Indiana Jones. Like that was a nice reference there, which makes sense because it is the 80s after all. Then you get to see Hopper having a nice talk with Mike about how he said his attitude roads regarding him losing Elle. Like that was a nice father-son moment right there, in my opinion. Then you get to the graduation ceremony where you have Dustin giving a speech as valedictorian, but it turns out he's just saying how screw the system, where it shows his Hellfire shirt and gives Principal the finger. Like that was a nice reference to season 4 when Eddie was planning to do that same thing to him. Like it just goes to show you just how much Dustin really cared about Eddie as a friend and maybe a brother. And like later on, you got all the main characters, including Max, just playing D&D one last time. And as they're playing it out, Mike kind of like he's impliedly telling about what happened to Elle, like how she actually didn't die and that she's somewhere out in the world, probably traveling around alone. Like that was a cool thing with him right there. And as they're telling me, you get to see a glimpse of what their futures are like. You got like Mike as a writer, you get Will meeting a guy in a bar. And like you also get a nice moment with Jonathan, Nancy, Steve, and Robin as they're talking to each other. Like I guess it kind of learned that how Nancy and Jonathan kind of broke up and stayed as friends since the relationship was awkward, even after the little proposal late from earlier in the season. Like, and not to mention when the show ended, they played that song "We Can Be Heroes Just for One Day," which I thought was a cool choice for music because it reminded me of the finale from regular show. They played that exact same song as the show ended. Like all in all, I thought that Stranger Things season 5 was like, it was enjoyable. I mean, my favorite is obviously season 1 and 4. Like season 5 is like my third favorite. Sorry. Like really, the only issue I had with the show was how it was missing a few characters, like Dr. Owens, not to mention Susie, aka Dustin's girlfriend, although I read online saying that they actually broke up off screen, though I guess would have been nice to see something like that. And you also, not to mention, you also had that Argyle from the pizza box, Jonathan's friend, the pizza guy from season 4. Like really, they were missing a few characters, but same time, I guess maybe the actors and actresses couldn't make it due to scheduling issues, which is understandable. And it would have been nice if each of the episodes were given a longer run times, just like with season 4, more time to time to give a few extra details on stuff. And all in all, I thought season 5 of Stranger Things was pretty good. Like it brought a very satisfying ending to the show, which was nice. So really, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it an 8.5 or just 8. Like for season 4, I'd give it a 9 or 10. Like season 4 was just, it was very perfect. It felt very the best of the entire show. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments about season 5 of Stranger Things. And also stay tuned for any other reviews I have coming up, such as season 4 of Invincible, as well as some upcoming movies, such as Avengers Doomsday, which will be about a year from now, less than it. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your new year. So, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos by Jaguar Productions. Peace.